A few years ago, a friend of mine gave me a book called Immortal Last Words, and it's just a collection of hundreds of people through history. Their final words, the things that they'd written, the epitaphs that they left behind, their final deathbed confessions. Alexander the Great, one of the greatest conquerors in history, said, "To the strongest." Nathan Hale, one of the American Revolutionary War's heroes and our first spy, he wrote, "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." Mark Twain wrote on a little note that they found by his deathbed, "Death, the only immortal, who treats us alike, whose peace and refuge are for all, the soiled and the pure, the rich and the poor, the loved and the unloved." And Dietrich Bonhoeffer, just before he went to the gallows, slipped a piece of paper to one of his fellow prisoners to pass on with these words written, "This is the end, for me, the beginning of life." I believe we all consider our last words at some point. If I have a chance to say something profound, definitely, I want to do that. But maybe even just the simple "I love you" to the family and the friends who are gathered around me in those final moments. But we really all want to say something that's meaningful. Just like we all want to live lives that are meaningful, we want our final utterance to be something that matters to the people that are staying behind. Because eventually death is going to be a part of all of our lives. Romans 5:12 says, "Therefore, just as sin entered the world through one man, and death through sin, and in this way death came to all humanity, because all sinned. For before the law was given, sin was in the world." And so we brought in this death and this destruction and this brokenness. And humanity's final words in that moment when we brought this brokenness into the world was, "I can do it on my own. I know better. I can be God." And with our final words, we promptly rejected God and we broke his heart. God, however, would not allow those final words to stand. He loved us too much for that. And so he would utter his own final words through his Son, Jesus. And John 19 records those words for us. John 19, 28 through 30. "Later, knowing that all was now completed, and so that Scripture would be fulfilled, Jesus said, 'I am thirsty.' A jar of wine vinegar was there. So they soaked the sponge in it, put the sponge on a stalk of hyssop plant, and lifted it to Jesus' lips. When he had received the drink, Jesus said, 'It is finished.' With that, he bowed his head and gave up his spirit." It is finished. What's finished? The need for perpetual sacrifices to please God. It's finished. The destruction of the wall that we put up between us and God, it's finished. The hold death has on our lives, it's finished. The fear born from the unknowing is finished. The pain of God's separation from us, it's finished. It's all done. It's all over. It's been finished. Death feels close to us right now. Our world is in chaos. But history's finest last words mean that we aren't in the chaos alone. We walk through the shadow of the cross on Good Friday, knowing that someone greater is in our midst.